live on Discovery Plus. So the man of the moment, Mark Williams, makes his entrance for another week of snooker. Not sure how Ian Burns feels about this. He's playing the manager's won the last tournament. Maybe if there's any sort of adverse reaction, he could take advantage. The head-to-head between him and Mark Williams is 2-0 to Williams, although they've not played for 7 years. Okay. He's from Preston, ranked 118 in the world. He's been in a couple of ranking event quarterfinals. Williams obviously starts favoured. Let's see, though, if he can press on from a terrific win at the British Open on Sunday. This is first round match. The winner plays Zhao Guodong, who of course was a semi-finalist in Cheltenham. Well, not the best start, it's got to be said, from Ian Burns.
Press clock.
Our player stopped. Luca Baselli was on for a maximum, which I don't think has happened by those Uzanovs. Shame we didn't get to see any of it, but he didn't make it basically, but he got very close, I can tell you. I know that he potted 15 reds, 15 blacks, and then he was down to the colours, and at some point, sadly, he didn't make one. That was what the reason play stopped was.
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of hoopla and cheering as Ian Burns broke off, actually. But anyway, of course, Brissell was very nearly knocked out last night, wasn't he, by young Stan Moody?
He actually potted the yellow and went off in the middle pocket, getting on the green. Otherwise, I think he would have made that maximum.
One.
So Ian Burns with a chance just to settle here. Obviously, the main table experience is all with his opponent.
6.
But he's had some good wins here and there down the years. He's starting again on one season's points. That's why he's down at 118.
7.
Has qualified for Wuhan next week. He beat Ricky Walden in the qualifying, so he's got that to look forward to.
Well, had he not hit the blue ball on the way round, I guess he'd have been close to that bottom red. But so often you want to avoid one ball and it doesn't happen. And snookered himself, albeit it won't be difficult to get out of. Well, he could just get to the edge as you saw, but even then, nothing much he could do with it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Mark Williams will play against Ian Burns. You're right, I wonder what Burns thinks about this match. Meant to be playing yesterday, of course. Held over because of the win at Cheltenham. You know, he could get a reaction and could lose today, although I think he's on the crest of a wave, really. I mean, he probably doesn't need a minute's practice from just the other night before last. Not sure how Williams won those last 2 frames. Anyone that was watching the British Open, from 8-5 to 8-7, Selby was all over him. And then he just found 2 frames from way behind. The second of which where he's 52 behind and 3 reds and still won the frame. That won't happen too often to Selby, to lose a frame of that kind. He's done it to enough people himself.
Yes, and you could see what it meant to Mark Williams as well. He didn't sort of play it down at all, which sometimes he does do. And even in the interview with Alan at the start there, you could see he was still really up after what had happened. the nature of how he won it, who he won it against. Big title as well, £100,000, gets him in all the other big events coming up as well.
One.
Played that well, and now he's got an angle to do whatever he likes with this, whether he decides to go into the reds or play on a loose one. I think the two reds near the black spot from this left side are absolutely A1. He's gone fractionally too far on either, but they're still on. Problem is, in taking the red on the black spot, to the left of it slightly, he's hitting other reds here, unavoidably.
Five.
Deft little cannon, that's okay.
Well, the early signs are good. It's going back a bit. He was in his 20s. He was a younger man. But if you go back to 2002, he won the Thailand Masters in Bangkok.
10.
Took the 4-hour flight to Shanghai for the China Open, which began the next day, and won that as well. I think it's fair to say he'll be feeling good as he comes to Brentwood this week.
Yeah, and I think he's like all other players. They know that they have to take advantage of their golden run of form. And we know he's in form now. He's got a little bit of a momentum shift in his favour. Because you can be out of form sometimes, not knowing where your next 50 breaks is going to come from. So while he's in this red-hot form, you've got to try and take as much as you can out of the game, because at some point you'll go over the top and lose your form. And the pressure's off him for the foreseeable as well. Great start to the season. He's got all the ranking points to play and everything. So he's in a great position. Well, he could hardly have judged that better.
24. $25.
I think it was the cannon he played, but the Reds have
30.
spread without the next one being a simple one. Just grazed off those three, but they've gone a little bit awkward, not massively so.
$31.
Just awkward queuing here. If this goes in, you feel that he could go on and make a frame-winning break. Just the awkward queuing on this black, it means you've still got to pot this.
Yeah, very nicely done. So surely it's going to be 1-0 to the Welshman.
38.
He's been scoring so well, 17 centuries already this season. He made 32 the whole of last, so already more than half. And we're only in early October.
He's been kind of written off once or twice during his career, hasn't he? Let's be honest, maybe more than once or twice. I don't think anyone was doing that this time, because actually at Talon's last season he played some great snooker. Masters very narrowly beaten in the final.
46.
But you kind of forget about him for a while, and you're reminded what a brilliant player he's always been.
Yeah, what happened since the last time he won the British Open 2 years ago is he'd lost quite a few high-profile matches really closely, deciders and near misses. Remember the semi at the Masters with Neil Robertson, for example. And there are a few other matches like that, including that Masters final with Trump. So to actually close one out would have been very satisfying for him.
54.
The thing with Mark, he's always been the same, really. If he loses a big match, he gets on with life. If he wins a big match, he gets on with life. He had his game of golf yesterday. He's come here clearly in a good mood, just looking forward to playing as much snooker as he can this week. And that makes him very dangerous, and Ian Burns is already discovering that. This red
62.
and snookers are required.
$63.
Yeah, undoubtedly, confidence is a terrific thing to have.
68. $69.
Well, whether he makes a century or not, I'm not so sure, because from here it's pretty tough. But as Dave was saying, the frame has been secured. Play the cross double to the left middle, this pink. Well, where's the next ball coming from?
75.
We know he puts a great ball, but the next one's going to be the best of the lot, I think. The red down the cushion up there. Good effort. Great start, though.
Yeah, very sharp
75 in the frame.
from Mark Williams. A 75 break to lead 1-0. Mark Williams, most recent winner on the World Snooker Tour at the British Open, made a very nice 75 break to take the opener against Ian Burns. This is the first round.
Thank you. The second frame.
Because there are some second round matches going on, but this match was supposed to be played yesterday, but just to give Williams a break. That's in the rules. If you play in a final, you don't have to play the next day. They did change it. I remember one year in Belfast, Neil Robertson had won, I think, the Champion of Champions, and a very dramatic match with Judd Trump. And then the next night he was on in Belfast, and clearly he was exhausted.
Yeah, I think people would just assume snooker players can just turn up and pop balls, but it's all the travelling and all the, I think the mental exhaustion, really, of going from A to B. It's great when you win. That's not really the point. It's just hard to do it justice, perhaps, straight after. Like you say, Williams has had a day off, little game of golf, and he must be feeling great about things because he had a lovely break in that frame.
Yeah, if anything, it's about concentration, isn't it? You know, the mental stamina, and there was no issue with that in frame one. And no issue there either, as he floats that red in. Yeah, he's up to 25 ranking titles now, so on the all-time list he's only 3 behind Steve Davis, who's got 28. Of course, O'Sullivan at the top on 39, Hendry 36, Higgins 31. That's the top 5.
I think people forget that he works very hard at this game, or maybe they just don't know. As you see a little yawn there, but he may not play for all the hours of the day as he probably once did as a teenager, but the time he does put in is pretty ferocious training of long pots with his coach Lee Walker, who I think is as good as anybody in coaching. As we see this, the reason this has been respotted is that it can't roll onto the red and be touching. It's not allowed to be touching. It's close to touching
8.
without it being so. Yeah, he puts a lot of work in, is the point. He works on his cue action more than anything now. The medal side of it, I reckon he knows all that. I don't think he needs a lot of help with all that side.
Nine.
Just on that point, I mean, I do think in snooker there are two sorts of coaches, really. There's sort of mental coaches, people who try and make you think more positively and try and point you in the right direction of good thoughts. And there are technical coaches, sheer technical coaches.
70.
I think Frank Callan was strictly a technical coach, late Frank Callan, great coach of a lot of players. Lee Walker is the same. Others are sometimes a combination of the two. But it's the mechanics of his cue action, I think, that he works on all the time.
24. $25.
Nice split, but I'm not sure whether anything would sneak into the right middle there, and if he's had a look, perhaps
32.
not. The left middle, that's in a very acute angle. Does anything go? Again, a narrow potting angle on that right-hand red. That held it left line very well. It was
33.
looking at it as if it was near jaw, but it's very well potted.
Fifth black coming up. Of course, last year in this very tournament, he became the oldest player to make a maximum break at 47.
That might be okay.
40.
Just a little flick of the other red.
Okay. 41.
Well, first things first, secure the frame, but he's still on blacks here.
49.
Yeah, what do you do if you're Mark Williams? I mean, there's a frame to be won, a match to be won. It's very easy to play on anything but the black. You don't want to be disrespectful of your opponent or anything, but the spectators here would just love to see a 147. They nearly got one with Luca Brissell. Got to the yellow, which he potted and went in off just a few moments ago on the table next door. You always feel that if you do take on a shot which is probably low percentage to try and keep the break going, you're going to get punished somewhere down the line. Also, as I say, you don't really want to be disrespectful to your opponent. Can he get on the black from this red? That shows you his mindset. 57. I think that's a fair call. He didn't compromise anything. He knows he's playing well. And he's not going to make a 147, but he might get the frame one here.
Yeah, all business. And what a great start this is. I mean, you talk about adverse reactions. It's been the opposite. It's like being carrying on
62.
from Sunday. Highest break 140, so he can still beat that.
63.
This red, and after 8 minutes, the
68.
frame will be safe.
69.
Just in complete control of himself, of his game. He's hard to beat when he's not playing well, Mark Williams, because he's got layers to his game. He can win the scrappy frames, but when he's playing at the top of his game, very, very hard to get a win over him.
He's made a couple of beautiful little cannons in this break, you know, and
77.
you know, his touch is really there. It's not always the first thing you think of, because he uses a rock hard tip on his cue, and it's not always about the touch. It's more the straight cueing, but right now all boxes are being ticked.
84. 85. 92. 93.
So 75 in the first, and this black for a century in the second has been utterly dominant so far.
Yeah, lovely break, but to get that break over 140, he's going to have to play a good shot, nudging the red, in potting the black for the century. And that's a shame.
Mark Williams.
Even so, the century's been made, and Mark Williams already, after, what, about 21 minutes play, is halfway to victory at 2-0.
Arthur Ashe.
Season 100 exactly. Didn't make the total clearance, but he's in full control of this match. Ian Burns has had very little in the way of openings, and indeed has scored just 10 points. So the winner plays Zhao Guodong, who was a semi-finalist last weekend, although he rather capitulated 6-0 to Mark Selby. He came through in the qualifying round, so he's not actually played here in Brentwood yet.
Just overcut it. Yeah, he's just walked into one today, hasn't he, Ian Burns? Coming from the cold to play this match. Happens he's playing the most informed player in the game on the back of a great win. Can play well, Ian Burns, but there is, as we all know, a gulf between the very top players and the players lower down. He is lower down, but he knows how to play. Just needs a few breaks, sort of in more than one sense of the word, I think.
6. 7. 14. 15. 22.
Now this time the
23.
cue ball just heading towards the pink without any real or obvious position. I mean, I'm thinking that's probably the first ball he's missed in live play. Certainly in the two previous frames, he missed at the end of frames where he'd made breaks and the frame was over. But it was a difficult one. Oh dear. Well, what if something's come to his rescue? He hit that top jaw very hard there, and it actually has got lucky. You wouldn't begrudge him something, because he's played a poor shot there, and it looks as if he's got out of it. But very little has gone for him, Ian Burns, in these 2 and a bit frames. It's not a touching ball, which would have certainly helped Ian Burns. Could have played away from the red completely. But even then, I don't know. I mean, you would be taking a risk playing to bulk with those 2 reds. Look at Plant. And you don't want to leave Mark Williams anything at the moment that he can go in, because you get the feeling he'd knock it in. So how this will resolve itself, I'm not sure. I think at a lead of 23, he wouldn't just give away and have a re-rack.
Yeah, the onus on Williams really to mix it up here rather than this tip-tapping.
Well, the onus might become on another Williams soon, Ben, because our referee might not want to just allow these 2 players to play these sort of non-shots for much longer.
Foul.
That might not have hit anything.
Miss. Mark Williams 4. From there or back.
Well, I mean, he's hardly moved, is it? I don't see the point of even putting that back. He's moved about half a millimetre. And that didn't hit either, did it?
Foul. Miss.
Got to hit it this time, hasn't he? Otherwise he loses the frame.
Good point.
Well, that would be an extraordinary way to lose a frame, wouldn't it?
Okay. Must warn you, if you fail to hit the ball on this occasion, it will be the frame to your opponent.
Well, that's all he needs, isn't it, quite frankly? He's run up against a player at the top of his game, and now he's 3 strikes rule for 2 shots that haven't gone a millimetre in distance in total.
The thing is, it's such a delicate shot. You know, it is one that you could miss. He's bound to play a different one.
He's got to play a different shot, and that would be a pretty lame way to lose a frame, wouldn't it? Very often, the 3rd shot, when a different shot is needed, is a good one, and that was a good one. So was that. 3-ball Plant now. What else has he got to offer us today? That was not an easy Plant by any means. Going to hit the first red squarely onto the second one, and all the rest will happen. Well, he looks absolutely terrific, doesn't he? And it's no surprise that he's feeling good about things.
I think he also genuinely enjoys playing. He might not enjoy doing that much practice these days, but getting out there, we heard him say during the pandemic when things stopped for a while, he resolved he was just going to carry on playing regardless of where he was in the world. And of course, right now he's in the top 10 in the world.
5.
When you give up playing this game and you're a leading player, one thing you have to remember, and that is that whatever else you do, you might be a decent golfer, you might be good at other things, but you're never going to be anywhere near as good at anything else as you are at this. And that's what players, I think, forget. You can be world class at probably only one thing in your life. Anything else you do, you might be quite good at. But I guess, you know, going back over time, before that 2018 World Championships, the 2017 Championship, he never even qualified. He was out of the 16. And people were starting to write him off, and I think I can understand why they were doing that. It takes some, you know, believing to not qualify for the Crucible and then win it the next year. That's what he did.
$17. $18. $25. $26.
So once again, getting close to the position where he'll secure the frame. Got him with that wonderful plan. The frame had gone into sort of stalemate mode, but Ian Burns had to change his shot because of the 3 miss rule and seemed to have played a pretty good safety. Mark Williams had other ideas.
Yeah, Ian Burns is being completely swamped at the moment here, unfortunately for him. That's the nature of the luck of a draw or whatever. At the moment he's on the wrong end of it.
$39. $40.
Well, there is enough on for another century, but regardless of where the break ends, Mark Williams is just playing delightful stuff. He looks so relaxed.
46.
And clearly very dangerous this week.
47.
On a bit of a free roll, you could argue, after his victory on Sunday. Got nothing to prove to anyone.
$54. $55.
I think the question of whether it was a good time to draw him or not has been answered, hasn't it? It wasn't for Ian Burns.
62.
He's missed that one. Even so, Mark
62
Williams just rolls on towards victory. Ian Burns has got to try and get in quickly in the next frame, otherwise it's going to be a whitewash. 3-0, Williams leads. 2. Ian Burns has scored 10 points in this match, all in the first frame. Since then, it's really been an onslaught.
Oh dear, that's the double kiss, which clearly again has allowed Williams in. Earlier on, it was the mistake where he hit the jaws of the middle pocket on a safety attempt. And there you are, he misses one in live play at the early stages of a frame. What can Ian Burns do now? Well, that is the first ball he's potted since very early in frame 1. Which was about 32 minutes ago. So not even that long really, is it, when all this has happened in the meantime. Now, get lucky. That might be okay. Is he on one? I think so.
6. Seven.
Ian Burns from the city of Preston, which of course is synonymous with the Guildhall, which hosted the UK Championship for 2 decades and several events since. It closed down a few years ago, but he's reopening, so who knows, we may be back there at some point.
I think anyone of an age who's played snooker for a living has got memories of that place. Terrific venue. Yes, home of the UK Championship for many years, and also the World Championship qualifiers are often played there with an 8-table setup, and you could walk around the back and see it all. It was a big old expanse. Terrific atmosphere in the Guildhall. Hope it reopens and hosts snooker again.
Well, he just lost his way. He didn't finish good on the colour, did he, on the pink there, and although potted it, didn't get on the red, so disappointing to only increase his highest break to 20.
Yes, I don't think he was able to foresee the red coming back down the table towards the cue ball like that. Not left an easy starter though, this red down the cushion. He's going to have to force it a little bit to get on the black. You can see it's, if it's not straight, it's very close to that, so the pace has to be put onto the ball if you're going to get onto a colour anyway. Didn't try a great deal.
It's not really what you need this when you're 3-0 down to the man who just won a ranking event. But in it goes.
Yeah, he might be on a red. The red closest to the right corner. Can he get through and pot it? It must be touch and go. I think not, looking at the way he's shaping up to hit the bunch.
Ian Burns 8.
Well, Keeble hung on, and he had it gone in. Burns would have had something to go at here from distance.
As you can see, full cover on the yellow of that red. So Williams, for once, is in a spot of bother here. Whether he plays to bend it round the yellow and just hit the red and clear it, or any other shot. Options are plenty. I don't know if there's any kind of a plant there. The red's below the bunch. A bunch of 3 anyway. Big swerve if he decides to go round the yellow. He's not trying it. Played just a containing shot of some description. It may not have left an easy opening red. Turns out that Williams' containing shot was left a more tricky shot than it looked. Anyway, could be in again here, the Welshman.
1. Six. 7.
wouldn't go as far as to say the black is not in play, because he could get behind it with the red along the cushion to follow it at some point during this break. He might not do it yet, but he might want to wait until the red that's just by the black spot is removed before he even thinks about playing on the black.
Fourteen. 20. $21. $26. $27.
Well, not perfect this. I think the red that's down below, under the eye line of his cue, is the problem. It just makes it more difficult. Bit of a distraction. Not much is stopping him today, though. He's been very good, Mark Williams. Brimming with confidence.
33. $34.
Yes, I mean, obviously it's not had the intensity of the final on Sunday, but there was the potential for a slip-up if Williams wasn't focusing hard, but he's looked really good, really relaxed, actually. But when he's been at the table, his concentration has been exemplary as well.
Now, here's the moment when he could play on the black. I'm not saying he will, but
40.
the red moving away from the black spot. Could roll the black in and be on the red to the right. That's the key. I think the red to the right is the reason he might play on the black here.
41.
Williams sticking to what he's doing.
$47.
That's a
48.
lovely shot. Now look where he's finished there, on that side of the table, which seemed unlikely you could get there. And he tries to simplify the game. He doesn't get too technical, doesn't
54.
overthink shots.
$55.
Simple equation is he's very close to winning this match 4-0.
Yeah, he scored really well, hasn't he, in every frame. Just a very dominant display. And the match has only been going
61.
48 minutes. 2 balls away from winning it.
62.
All is well in the house of Mark Williams right now.
$68. 69.
On this kind of form, there's no reason why he couldn't go on and win again, make it back to back weeks, because the game's not that easy. But clearly he comes here in great fettle, feeling great about the game, and the pressure, if there was any on him, not that you'd ever know, has been released.
Just enough on to finish with a second century.
$79.
Yeah, 50 minutes for the whole match.
Well, there you see the numbers, certainly the colours at the bottom of the screen, and now he's taken the break. Said he could have played on the black ages ago, he didn't, and he's never been potted in the whole break.
88.
But it will need to be if he was to make the century. Really good display, this. Minimum of fuss, he's got this match won.
Now then, can he knock the black in to end with a second ton? Caught the cushion. He's disappointed, despite an excellent performance. 94 then to finish. Of course, he did have a century in frame 2. Williams too hot for Burns. He gets the job done in just 50 minutes. The British Open champions marches into the second round of the English Open, a winner 4-0.